You have with social media algorithms and influencers, you have people that have become vastly popular that are providing guidance into the space. So you have that element. You also have a fragmented industry when it comes to certification and education.
On this episode of the ATFW podcast, we have another edition of the HFA Insider, recorded live from the Health and Fitness Association trade show's show floor. We'll cover the current state of personal training with David Van Daff from the National Academy of Sports Medicine, what is actually driving results with AI alongside Hegarty from ABC Fitness, and the evolving role of wearables and motivation with Tom Davies from Myzone. From trainers to tech to member engagement, this conversation connects the dots on what's really moving the industry forward right now. Before we get to it, be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new podcast episodes weekly featuring industry thought leaders and influencers. I'm your host, Chrissy Van, and this is ATFW. What is the state of personal training right now?
You're seeing is this evolution, and I'll talk a bit more about this, but this evolution of you have members that are seeking additional services beyond a membership card and some initial direction. You're seeing aspiring fitness professionals gravitate to certification organizations and other education institutions to enter into the field. With that, you're seeing client expectations evolve and grow exponentially from where a personal trainer was once utilized as, hey, can you build me a program that's going to help me get to these goals and then meet with me 2 or 3 times a week? It's now become a, hey, I need a program. I'm willing to meet with you 2 times a week, but I want to know everything that I need to do the other 5 days of the week. I need more information on nutrition, more on supplementation. I want more into wellness as I'm learning more about this as a concept, sleep and recovery and increasing happiness and fulfillment. And these are all now components that members are coming in with expectations for. Oh, and by the way, I want you to tell me everything that my wearables are telling me and tie that into the programming that you're developing. So it's requiring personal trainers to become so much more well-versed in things beyond traditional fitness and be able to meet members where they need to be met in terms of developing relationships and becoming clients.
I love that you ended that with meeting members where they're at, because as NASM, you also need to meet trainers where they're at and operators where they're at. And that has meant expanding the types of certifications that are offered and in demand to be prepared for the consumer. So talk to me a little bit about some of those shifts that you've had to implement.
And let me start with our CPT, our certified personal trainer, which we are continually evaluating, creating new additions associated with this. As the profession has evolved, it has also required education institutions to provide that baseline education with the goal of ensuring that every fitness professional that comes out of certification is prepared to begin their journey as a qualified fitness professional and be able to evolve beyond that. So in addition to that, what you've seen over the last 38 years for NASM is that you start with that certification, but it's evolved into advanced specializations. And some of those have become standards like our corrective exercise, our performance enhancement specialist that continues to become an important component within fitness and sport and beyond, but it's also tied into newer types of certifications and specialties. Our weight loss medications, our GLP-1s for fitness professionals, was so widely received last year and continues to grow as that's such an important element. Beyond that, though, we have a wellness coach certification that has absolutely taken off as not only is that an important concept for personal trainers, but also for a career path for folks that are looking beyond traditional personal training and offering services into the wellness space. And then that continues to grow progressively over time. We have a wonderful team that is always evolving where this industry is going and then ensuring that we have best-in-class education to be able to support the fitness professionals.
And when it comes to that support, we kind of are in an era that anyone can build a website, anybody can make a claim as to who they are. Why is it so important, especially given the nature of the role of a personal trainer, to ensure that an individual is getting an education that is science-backed and really has a level of standard versus something that could potentially be thrown together in a minute and have a claim on the top?
Have two components of it. One, you have with social media algorithms and influencers, you have people that have become vastly popular that are providing guidance into the space. So you have that element. You also have a fragmented industry when it comes to certification and education, where you have groups like NASM that are providing accredited education that is considered gold standard education and putting through a rigorous process of learning that ultimately evolves into a accredited proctored exam. So it ensures that the quality of fitness professional is consistent and the person is ready to perform as a qualified professional and deliver safe and effective training. When you have other types of programs that exist out there that are, for instance, set up in untimed, unlimited day formats to where competency is not necessarily being addressed, but more so an ability to look up answers over the course of a weekend, then all of a sudden you have fitness professionals that are entering into the market without the knowledge, skills, and abilities to be successful and to be safe for that matter. What that does is obviously puts clubs in a situation of increased liability, credibility associated with the industry, and also almost creating an environment for your members where you're offering services without qualified professionals in order to be able to perform that. I will end by saying this continues to increase the churn and turnover that has plagued personal training for decades. And when you take a trainer that doesn't have necessary qualifications and put them in an environment where they have to sell their services, they struggle with this. And that helps contribute to, what's been a very, very disappointing downturn of fitness professionals failing to achieve success and churning within the industry.
With that said, because that is a very real concern that certainly the industry feels in a big way, but what is exciting you most about the space right now when it comes to personal training?
Operators getting directly involved into the business. Personal training has grown over the years, and as we talked about before, member expectations have grown. The advent of AI and all kinds of resources to find workouts, members still want to achieve their goals, and they need a human being as a coach very often to get them to where they want to be at the pace that they want to be at. And so what excites me is we're seeing operators that are getting more directly involved in the business. Who are our most successful personal trainers? Who sell the most? Who service the most? How long is their tenure? Directly getting involved as the churn issue has become more and more of a problem over time, and then coming back saying, hey, we need these types of professionals in order to achieve success. We need them to fulfill these education requirements before they come on. They're going to go through our own internal onboarding. A lot of clubs have started to bring in more hands-on training as these trainers come into clubs in order to help them achieve success and have a level of consistency within the department. So operators at the highest level are digging deep into education requirements, standards upon hire, onboarding to really deliver to their members what they're seeking, making sure it is safe, credible, and effective, and also stepping in to ensure that this churn rate doesn't continue to increase and that the great fitness professionals find success and stay within their club locations.
So Finn, AI, the AI bubble, all this investment going in, and now we're really starting to see where it's sticky and where it is not. So in your opinion, when it comes to artificial intelligence, at this point, what is hype and what is real?
Yeah, look, I'm looking around here. I haven't done a full lap of the HFA conference here at the moment, but it's everywhere. Right? Every second booth, there seems to be mention AI. So I think there's a lot of hype, but I think the big focus really is on outcomes. Right? You got to really be looking at how can AI enhance your experience as an operator? Is it going to improve the top of the funnel? Is it going to help conversion? Or is it going to help engagement and retention? So there's definitely a lot of hype, but you really want to focus on the things that for the outcomes for your members and your clients.
Well, let's talk about some of those outcomes. In your experience, when it comes to driving revenue and retention, what aspect of AI is moving the needle the most?
Well, something we're really proud of and we're looking forward to launch in the next couple of weeks is around intelligent billing, right? So obviously a big part of our value prop at ABC is collections, right? So we are seeing some great results of being able to apply machine learning and AI to be able to optimize collections at the right time for the right person. So rather than, the standard cycle for every single person, now we're going to be more personalized. So I think that's the big theme on the collection side of things, is being able to have the, more personalized experience for your members, and really to dial into the outcomes like collections, like the top of the funnel conversion. So there's a lot of agents out there talking about the top of the funnel, your sales agent, your front desk. So I think for us, and certainly on my side of things, it's trying to get AI to kind of augment your day-to-day as an operator. So it's not, going to be replacing the day-to-day. It's being able to free up your operators to be able to spend more time with the members, with the consumers. And I think that's the beauty about AI. It's not, we work in an industry that is very much about the human connection. And I see where AI fits in is being able to take the mundane things out of it, the following up on leads and all the rest, but giving you the insight that you can make better decisions as an operator and ultimately spend time with your members.
Well, talking back to the collections element, you're talking about personalizing that experience. What exactly does that look like in practice?
Yeah, it's preempting that beforehand. Number one is when is the right time to build. But obviously there's a lot of, people have a contract of when they need to build. So it's more on the cycle of the collection being optimized first. So being able to reattempt someone that goes into that delinquent state at the right time. They may be getting paid on a Friday. They may be coming from a neobank. So there might be a certain demographic that's different. So it's really about personalizing the collection cycle to that member. And to your point, depending on who that member is, they may not pick up the phone to unknown numbers. I don't answer the phone to any number I don't know. So do they check SMS? So you got to use the right channel at the right time. And that's for us, it's kind of a multi-channel approach, whether it be SMS, push note, a chat bot, it might be a real person. It really depends on that's why the more personalization, the better, because you got to hit them at the right time, at the right place.
And how about the neobank issue? Because I know that's something, to be honest, I don't hear a ton of operators really talking about it, but that's a real pressing issue because it's a very different methodology than we were used to just a few years past.
Yeah, there's been a massive shift, particularly on, we'll say, the Gen Z side of things, right? They're using the likes of Cash App and things like that. And we've seen in terms of our footprint, reminder, we have 40 million members across 100 different countries. So we can see the increase of neobanks across the whole portfolio. And it's particularly concentrated on the Gen Z side of things. So you've got to be able to meet those folks where they're at in terms of what they're using for payments as well. So there's been a massive shift. And we've got some good thought leadership in terms of how to optimize your base. Maybe you don't want to accept neobank. That certain brands are just, they want to block that. The other option is maybe you have an alternate payment method that might be a backup to that neobank. So when that neobank fails, you might be, reattempt on the ACH or reattempt on a credit card. So there's some different tactics depending, again, how you can kind of achieve it. But it's been a huge shift.
Yeah, it's definitely something operators need to be prepared for in advance, or else it's going to generate big loss. But you do talk about the fact 40 million members across the world, which means millions upon millions of data points. And if there's one sentence we heard all last year, data is the new gold. So when it comes to the metrics, which ones do you think operators should pay attention to the most in their data that maybe they're not using as effectively as you feel they could?
Yeah, and I just may want to make point, the beauty about AI, right? And I think the real power is actually in the data. And that's, we got 40 years of history in the industry as well. So that's really powering our models behind the scene. I think the data points for an operator to be the usual stuff, right? Top of the funnel, what's your conversion rate? What's your member yield? What's your retention rate? What's your collection rate? You got to really dial in and focus on those key KPIs. And if you can use AI to give you the insight as well, which is quite interesting, he's been able to bubble up what those metrics are, what's changing in your base, what's changing in those metrics, so you can make better decisions. So I think it's kind of looking at that full end-to-end cycle of where those outcomes are at throughout the member journey.
HFA is a really big moment for us. Obviously stateside, it's a big part of our business. So we brought back the Myzone breakfast for the first time in a couple of years. And we announced three big things. So we announced Switch 2.0, so an evolution upgrade of our most loved hardware wearable. We announced Garmin integrations, so now everyone can access Myzone through their Garmin device as well as their Apple device or their Android device. And the final one was we launched Strength. So Myzone has always credited effort, but it's been mainly focused on cardio. Now we have a solution for strength.
I want to niche into the strength announcement because we know, I mean, strength isn't anything new in the industry, but we know it's been a big area of concentration. Gym footprints have evolved greatly with cardio shrinking, strength training going in, but there hasn't been a great way for members to really measure their progress there. So tell me a little bit about why and how this was the thing to niche into.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. Strength is a huge growing area, if not the biggest area in our sector, and we understood that. And funnily enough, strength is actually still one of the most popular workout modalities in Myzone. So we see a lot of people still using Myzone for strength. We've been talking about this for months, if not years at Myzone, but we wanted to get it right. So we didn't want to rush into something and get it wrong. We fully appreciate that we want to credit all effort. That's the whole kind of thesis of our business. And so this really felt like both the right time, but also the right solution. We didn't want to run into something that wasn't going to work for our customers. And we also didn't want to alienate people that have been focused heavily on cardio in the past. So we're looking at it in two phases, strength. So the first phase is going to be about just rewarding people through streaks, gamification. And then the second phase is where we bring in our MEPS for strength. So that's our kind of single currency in the Myzone ecosystem. And now you're going to get credit for strength, not just cardio. So super excited for it.
Well, and those little nods of encouragement are so important. And it seemed like you really decided as a brand to innovate a little bit toward the end of last year and really defined MoTech.
That's right.
Why and what?
So yeah, at the end of 2025, when I first joined the business at the start of 2025, the question that Jay, our CEO, and myself asked all the time was, how do we really crisply and concisely say what Myzone is? We asked 100 people, either customers, ex-customers, employees, and they gave us 100 different answers. And so we needed to really talk to our customers. We did a huge piece of customer research to understand what is the secret sauce behind Myzone. And the answer was MoTech. And now that's not just a kind of marketing thing that I brought in, MoTech. It really is what we've always done. So we sort of really positioned the business clearly on, we're about motivation, we're about adherence, we're about getting people moving, but more importantly about keeping them moving. So we do that through gamification, through community, which is a huge pillar of ours, and obviously through motivation. So little nudges, ways to keep people in the game, as we talk about it at Myzone, and really reward them for that effort. And that's something that we've always done through our Myzone effort points, but we're really doubling down on that. And the final thing on MoTech is we don't just talk about it, like I say, as a marketing piece. We actually work with a behavioral science scientist called Dr. Heather McKee, and we put everything that we do through the lens of behavioral science. So she sits in our board meetings, she sits in our exec meetings, and she really helps us. She helps she helps me, she helps our CTO Vahid to make sure that everything that we're doing is built to drive motivation and keep people coming back.
Where do you really think the future of wearables is going? Because we're soaked in data. Like, is it lying in the data and measurables or more in the motivation?
Yeah, well, I think you probably know the answer to that. We found very clearly that when we spoke to our customers, they were overwhelmed with data. They had so many data points around sleep, around HRV, exercise preparedness, skin temperature, all these things. And they were telling, we had certain people telling us, you need to get into that game. But you look at the players in that space, they have better sensors, they have more data, they have bigger budgets. And in a way, the fact that that space is eaten up by Apple, by Garmin, by Samsung, by Fitbit, by the Whoops, the Auras, that are all doubling down on data. They're all about better sensors, better technology. We can't win in that space. I heard a great phrase the other day, which was, and this is a real kind of the spirit of what Myzone is doing at the minute, which was, how do you beat Roger Federer? Well, you don't play him at tennis. And that's kind of the spirit of what we're doing. We're not going to play in that data space. We don't believe that that is where we win. And we also don't believe that that's where the customers think the future lies. When we talk to our customers, it was loud and clear. They have a single metric with us, which is their heart rate. And they know that that is what they're accountable to. And they like it. They like that simplicity. So we're really doubling down on the motivation side of things, the behavioral science, behavior change, because that's how people stay, they stay working out, they stay exercising.
Which is exactly what we want them to do in this space. So lastly here, what's your most controversial opinion or hot take about the fitness industry right now?
Our industry's grown pretty rapidly over the last 15, 20 years. And with that growth has come a hell of a lot of fragmentation. There are businesses that you just look here at HFA, there are so many businesses that, they have kind of a niche, but they also overlap with others. And there's a hell of a lot of fragmentation. And there's lots of businesses trying to do similar things to each other. I think we're going to see a lot of consolidation. There has to be a lot of consolidation in our industry in the next, I was going to say the next 5 years, but probably in the next 6 to 12 months, where you're going to see a lot of vertical integrations and horizontal integrations across our business. I think that there is a lot of too much choice for operators out there at the minute, and sometimes they get a little bit blinded by choice, and therefore maybe a bit of paralysis by analysis, and don't make decisions on what's best for their business. So I think certainly the supplier side, the people that are going to win, are the ones that can work together quickest with other suppliers to provide full solutions for people, rather than this kind of fragmented landscape that we have at the minute.
Stay fit, stay informed, keep your fitness business in shape. This is the ATFW podcast by Chrissy Van. Find us on LinkedIn, like, share, and follow.